Rings that bind.
All right, good evening and welcome once again to Rings That Bind. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. and we bring couples who come to share their story, their experience through their marriage. The intention of this is to help and encourage young people or people struggling in their relationship to know that there is hope, that they can make it through, they can pull through, they can have that really strong and fulfilling relationship. Don't forget, this is brought to you by BridgeAfrique Magazine, Home of Bliss Incorporated, and panaceavilleinternational. I'm Nancy Oblete. I'm a marriage coach and a behavioral change expert. I also host this show. Today on this show, we have another interesting couple who we hope to learn so much from. This couple have been married for over 24 years. By the end of this year, they will be 25 years in marriage, and they are blessed with 3 children. Please help me welcome EMMANUEL and OYEYEMI OLUSANYA to RTB. Welcome, sir and ma.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, it's also a pleasure on our part having you. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and for coming here.
Thank you.
Before we go ahead, we just want to meet you, get to know you a bit as individuals, what you do, and then we'll swing into the marriage conversation.
Okay. So, my name is OYEYEMI OLUSANYA. I'm a teacher. I teach English and literature in English. I work with the Ogun State government. And I'm also into counseling of would-be couples. That's basically what we do in church. We are part of the team that trains, that counsels young intending couples and couples who are still very young in marriage. We help them to settle down properly and enjoy marriage. Apart from that, I do little things as hobbies. I enjoy cooking a lot. I bake occasionally, but and I love reading. I'm actually called a bookworm. I read a lot.
Nice to meet you,
Ma. A lot. Thank you.
I'm sure by the time we are ending, I'll get some book recommendations for you so that I can also read. I love reading myself, so it would be a pleasure to get some of your top recommendations and read them myself. Yes, sir. Can we meet you?
Yes, my name is EMMANUEL OLUSANYA. I'm an accountant by profession and also a tax administrator. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and also fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation. As my wife had rightly said, we are members of the team that give guidance and advices to would-be couples. And we've been doing this for the past 8 years.
Wow. Interesting. It's nice meeting you, sir. By the time we go into the conversation, I want to also get to ask you about your experience with talking to couples and all. But let me keep that question for later. I want to ask you our very first question, and that is, how did you meet? How did this journey begin? Like, take us back down memory lane.
Yes, I'll leave that question for him to answer. Let him answer
All
that
right.
The journey actually began 30 years ago at Obafemi University. I was the president of my my town association. We call it Remo Student Association. So normally we welcome freshers, you know, during the first semester. So, but this time around, because of a kind of fluctuation in the academics calendar. So we couldn't do it during the first semester. So the welcome party for the freshers was carried out during the second semester. So we call it rain semester. So my wife actually had been in the school over a year. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Okay, my wife actually, she has been on campus for more than a year. So she was not actually a fresh student that particular year. But that day was the first day that she attended our program. Somebody invited her. So meanwhile, I sat in the front of the members of my association. So I was trying to address them. So I now spotted one beautiful lady sitting, wearing blue clothes, sitting in the middle of the crowd. I said, who is this person? I'm seeing this person for the first time. So, there and then I started, pursuing her. So as soon as we finished that meeting that day, so when we want to take a photograph, so I kept on, asking her to come and stay behind me. So I was hovering around her like a bee. So this, so that few days, maybe about 3 or 4 days after, we went on ASU break. So we couldn't return back to school until maybe 5 or 6 months after. So as soon as we returned, I asked my secretary that I want to see the list of those people that actually came for the welcome party. So I asked for the pictures that we took that day, but he said the picture was not ready. So I called for the attendance sheet. I went through the attendance sheet. So I was using the elimination method. So okay, this one, I know this one. No, it cannot be this one. I know it cannot be this one. It cannot be this one. So I restrict the whole thing to about 3 or 4 names. And now, so meanwhile, I don't know the actual person, so I don't want to be I don't want to fumble. But as God will have it, so I was going, to the class one day, and I met her. This is the lady I was talking about. So we greeted, so I went, but I look at her very well. Now I can, this is a daylight, so I can see her. So whenever I see her, then I know the person that I'm talking about. So meanwhile, we have among my executive member, I have lieutenants. So one of them is Michael. He's not a big man now. So I told her, I said, look, come on. So then we are having another meeting. So now come and see this lady that is going. She came, she attended our meeting the other time. And she said, no, she's my classmate. I said, she's my classmate. I'm interested in her. Say, hey, okay, my proceed. Don't worry. I'll help you talk to her. So, I didn't know that he had actually, spoken with her. So, but later when I met her, I traced her to where she normally reads. So I was just, I was moving up and down. So later, Mike now told me, okay, I've spoken with her. I was, hey. Meanwhile, I didn't have the courage now to approach her. So the marriage is gone. But I kept on going to where she reads every night. So one day I now sum up the courage. I sent someone to you. I don't know whether the person has delivered my message. He said, hey, who is the person? So his name is Michael. I said, Michael, okay. So, okay, but is that what's the message? So you know, as my leg began to warm again. So I said, okay, I'll come back. I'll come back to tell her that message. So I went that day. So and then after a few days, I came back. Yes, yes, yeah. Well, I just want to tell you that I like you. She said, you like me? I said, yes. How do you like me? I said, I want to marry you. So she looked at me and said, you want to marry? I said, yes, I want to marry you. Because, you know, that has always been my dream. As soon as I said, look, before I leave this campus, I must get a wife. Even when we are preparing for our final examination, my colleagues they are preparing, they are reading towards a ICANN examination. But my own intention is that I want to marry, I want to settle down. Even though I don't have money, I don't have chichi on me. But I just, you know, because I lost my parents when I was still growing up. So it's like I need a companion. So I don't know how the person, I don't know how it will be, but I just made up my mind that, okay, my interest now is just to get somebody who I can relate with, who I can confide in, who will serve as my mother, who will also serve as my sister. And so, but when I see one, I know. So when I saw her that day, I know she's the one.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the story. That was how we met. Although I was not thinking about anything like that. I was not. I only attended that meeting that day for the first time, and it was also my last time. I never attended that parapor meeting after that day again.
Wow.
Because I never. That was the only time I went there. That was the first time we met, and that was the last time I went there. I never went back there again.
So maybe it was God that just sent you there so that you could meet.
That's just it. It was God's divine arrangement that, okay, so there's someone for you that you need to meet at this time. And you know what I told him there? I said, yeah, I'm not interested in relationship now. I want to graduate with a first class. So I don't want any form of distraction. So my mind was not even there. Even when he kept on coming, hovering on and on, I didn't really give it a thought until when he was going for his youth service. That was now that was when it now dawned on me that this guy is actually going out of the school. So I now decided to give it a thought. You understand? So I got to know him, and I discovered that he's one of the best people on earth, one of the best people that God created. He's a very, very fantastic human being. People say I overpraise him, but that's just the simple truth. It's just the truth. Probably because we've become friends over the years. I'm able to appreciate him a lot. He takes me for who I am. There are no unnecessary expectations. No unnecessary expectations. Probably because we've grown over the years. We tell one another everything. There's no secret. If you want to tell my husband anything and you are saying, you don't want the wife to know, you are in trouble. Because right in your presence, right there in your presence, he will tell me. So I got to know that he is a very fantastic person and very, very caring, extremely caring. Sometimes I ask myself, what good have I done to merit him? That's the truth. I ask God that question so many times, that what fantastic thing have I done? Or is it my parents who have been good at one point or the other that made God to just favor me? So it was not love at first sight for me. as I know him, I grew to love him the more every day. But for him, it was love at first sight. But for me, I grew in it. By the day, it multiplies. Thank you.
Fantastic. You know, many times, like growing up, we always had love at first sight doesn't exist. But just doing this, I think I can. I've met, I think you are the second or the third couple that have told me this same story. Immediately I saw her, from the day I met her, I just knew she was the one. Of course, it took time to settle and all, but then it just shows that sometimes we get that prompt from the beginning.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
that is true.
And it's also okay if love comes slowly all through the years. Then another thing that I wanted to point out is how he felt trying to speak to you, you know, something that you want. Many of us women do not appreciate what men go through to summon courage to speak their truth when it comes to issues of love, because their heart is in it. They want this bad. And so sometimes it's challenging to compose themselves. The possibility of being rejected is also there, and all. Amazing story. Love stories are always sweet. I love hearing them. They're so sweet. Okay, so I want to ask, I know the both of you are Yorubas, but Yorubas also have dialectic differences, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have dialectic difference between the both of you?
We don't. They're from the same place.
The same. Oh, wow, interesting.
We are the same place, from the same town.
Okay.
So it
That's
makes
interesting.
it
What a huge coincidence. Okay, so when you decided to take this journey together, did you experience any form of opposition from family and all?
No opposition. In fact, let me tell you. In 1996 December, I went with him to visit his people for the very first time during Christmas. You won't believe it. They had not seen me before. They had not. It was the first time. But Grandma just welcomed me like as if a long lost daughter returned back home. I felt so much warmth, so much love, so much acceptance. And everybody in the house they just kind of embraced me. For me, it was strange. It was strange. Me, I was coming from a background of, this kind of English background, you know, where you need to just comport yourself, take things slow. But they blasted it for me. You can love someone. And since then, I made up my mind. I will always open my hands to welcome visitors into my home. Because the way they welcomed me helped me to settle down. And it even gave me another perspective entirely about the entire family. Then coming to my own family too. The first time my mom met him, it was a done deal. It was no contradictions, no oppositions, nothing. My mother just welcomed him. It was as if I didn't tell my mom about my experience at Abeokuta. I did not. But my mother just welcomed him, gave him the same kind of love I had been shown in his own place. So there was no opposition at all.
Wow, amazing. Like, it's so sweet. So can you tell us a bit of how you relate with your in-laws? What, even as at now, what's your relationship like? Has there been any challenge as you relate with your in-laws? How have you managed it? Just...
Earlier on, my husband said he lost his parents when he was very young. So he was brought up by his uncle and the aunties. He lived with his uncle permanently. So it was the uncle's wife that I said welcomed me into their home at Abeokuta. You understand? So
yes.
She had already set a wonderful example for me. If someone who is elderly someone I'd never met in my life welcomed me like that. And I'm a child of God. She has already written down something for me. I've already picked something from her. So it helped me to now return that love back to them. It was easy for me to love her back. You understand? She made it easy to love her because she accepted me with open arms. I could go into her room. In fact, there are so many times she will be in the bathroom and she will specifically call for me to come and wash her back for her. Specifically. There are so many times we will not want to make food for Grandpa, and Grandpa will insist, I want Yemi to make it. I prefer Yemi's amala. I prefer Yemi's eforiro. So many times. And even my sisters-in-law were like, Grandpa, you are being biased though. Grandpa, you know, it was an atmosphere of love. So I learned it from them, and I decided to wear it too. I decided to wear it too and ensure that I don't have any reason to misbehave with them such that they will not be comfortable with me. It helped me to shape my relationship with all my in-laws. And let me be honest with you. I don't know if it's only their family, but that family, all of them are like that. My actual mother-in-law's sisters, the way they treated me, or they are still treating me, you can hardly know that I'm not their direct child. So if I have received so much love like that from people, it will be difficult to now be arrogant or not to welcome them into our home. It will be difficult. And one other thing is that while we were courting, my husband specifically told me, said, you know, I love you. And I would not want anything that will tarnish your image. I want to beseech you, I want to beg you, whenever my people come around, even if it's only one piece of meat that we have left in the pot of stew, give it to them. When I come, I will look for something else to eat. Even if it's only one cup of gari, make it for them. Once you are able to settle them, they will not disturb you. We will settle ourselves. We will find a way out. And that's the way it has been. That's the way it has been. I don't have any issue with my in-laws. I cannot say they are 100%. In fact, I can give them 100%. I can give them over 100%. I always say it. You know, I told you earlier on that myself, my husband and I were into counseling. We are very blunt with would-be couples that this is it. And we even invite them into our home. Let me shock you. Most times during New Year ceremony, if you come into our house, the first thing that will hit you is, why do we have so many people here? There are a crowd. It's always a crowd, a serious crowd. And they will sleep over, not for one day, not 2 days. Some may arrive earlier than maybe 31st of December, and we have a merriment together by 1st. They won't go that 1st. Some will not go on 2nd. Some will even remain till 3rd. And the house will be full. I remember there was a day my daughter did a count, and we were able to count 60.
Whoa.
Yes.
60 people.
60 people, all inside one building.
Wow.
Yes.
That's like a whole village.
Yes. We will put mats and everywhere. But you know, it doesn't really bother us. It's just once in a year. And after that, at worst 1 week, everybody will go back to their different places, and we might not even see one another again until another new year. And it's a fantastic way of bonding, even for the grandchildren. So I want to believe God that we have fantastic relationship with our in-laws, even my husband with my own people too. And those 60 people, they are not just his own people, though. My own people too are also there.
Mixed,
My
like
mom,
mixed
my
family.
siblings, their children, everybody.
Wow.
So God has helped us to be able to enjoy in-law relationship. God has really, really been gracious to us on that area.
That's so fantastic. So I want to ask, how has this kind of cordiality helped you in shaping your own children? Because, you know, like your wife was saying, that since this opened her heart, the way she was received, she decided to open her own home to extend that kind of reception to other people. So how did it help you as you were raising your children to shape them?
Thank you very much. You see, they are no longer babies. They are adults, and they see the way we are receiving other people. I've let them realize that in life, you never know where you are going to find yourself. So your level of tolerance and acceptability is very, very important.
Yeah.
So the way we welcome people, so we've imbibed that culture in them. You understand? So in fact, they will be the one to be going up and down to make sure that they settle other people. They want to see that they want to see that they are comfortable. So they will go to the rooms that we allocate to them. So okay, have you eaten? So what do you want? Okay, come on, let's go to the sitting room. Let's go and watch telly. Let's go. So if as we are talking to you now, we have about 6 people around us, apart from our own immediate family. So that has been that's the way they were brought, or they are being brought up. And there's another thing that I told my wife that I don't want my wife to use other people's children. That is, as she's training the other people's children, she should also train my own children. My sons, they can grind pepper on the
grinding
stone. They can cook. They can do all sorts of things. That's the way we brought them up. And in fact, they became an envious to some people around. So people are now trying to emulate what we, the kind of culture that we imbibe in them. So it has helped us a lot.
Wow, that's interesting. So it means that, because over here, especially in Africa, we have this, oh, he's a man, he doesn't do this stuff, he doesn't do that. So, in fact, that means your children will be hot cake when it comes to marriage, because as men, their wives will be sure that, even if not always because of work and all that, but they will also be homely, and they will be able to attend to some of the needs in the home. That's like very fantastic. So I want to ask, among your children, like raising them, often we are told that children are different, and the principle may be the same, how you raise your children, but then the methodology may change because of the uniqueness of the child and all. Do you see this kind of difference within your children?
Well, like I said, they have individual differences, but what we consider paramount is that we should give equal opportunity to each and every one of them. So because of this, each child with its own peculiarity, is trying to, each of them is trying to live up to the buildings. You understand? Because we try as much as possible not to give preference to anyone. So we love them equally. And as such, so they reciprocated in their attitudes towards us. I don't know whether I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, yes. Like, but I want us to get a little more specific, because they are different, right? Can you give us like certain things that one person would be more like willing to do, or the other person you will need to take another you will need to use another system to reach them? Let me give an example. Like my children, because I have 2 girls. One is very, very daring. if you tell her don't do this, that's what she wants to do. Like she wants to try it and see what will happen if I do that, you know. So they have these differences. And then sometimes because of these differences, I have to use different methodologies to reach them. The older one is more, will I say obedient, or is that the word? So it's easier to get her to do certain things. You call her, you sit down, you talk with her, and she's okay, I'm going to do it. And once she says, okay, you can relax. The other one can say, okay, I'm going to do it. And she intends to, but you have to follow up. Otherwise it may not get done. You know, those kind of differences. Can you like elaborate some of the differences with your children and growing up?
Okay, so we have 2 boys and a girl. I would say that our older boy is extremely matured, even much more for his age. Very, very matured. In his maturity, the way he handles issues. For example, when we have so many people at home, he will just quietly go his way. You understand? Even when people have taken over his room. You understand? So being a boy, he will find his level within the house. You just, you know, quietly go on his own. Then you have our younger son who wants to see everybody, who wants to have everybody all around him. He will go, he is, how would I call him now? Very receptive. He will go from one person to the other. Have you eaten? What else do you need? Do you need any other thing at all? How can I help you? Now, in comparison to his older brother, the brother can remain in the kitchen, cook all the meal for everybody. He can be in the kitchen, do all the cooking, do everything, but he prefers to do cleaning. You understand? He prefers to clean. You want to mop? Okay, let me do the mopping, you go and cook. You understand? But our daughter is the bookworm, like the mother.
Like her mother.
She enjoys cooking, but she doesn't like anything that will distract her from her studies. You understand? So we know all those. So we're able to blend it. We're able to blend it. Do you understand? So we ensure that none of them is much more important than the other. And we appreciate each person's character and how they present it. I don't know if we have been able to answer your question.
Yes.
Still a little more,
you know, and
that we need to.
Yes, the roundup you gave was very critical because you talked about giving them, like treating them as equals. So nobody feels one person is better than the other.
Yes.
Because oftentimes you find out that children have rivalry when parents treat them like one person is more special than the other. So they either grow up to hate that person, or they are often fighting, trying to steal mother's attention or father's attention from the favorites to themselves, you know. So that's really, really powerful. Now, as parents, you know, as individuals, we would usually have our differences in how we want to implement different discipline and our parenting styles generally. Do you experience differences in how you parent your children, or you want to parent them? What do you do when you don't agree on a particular system of parenting or disciplining a child at a particular point?
We hardly disagree on that point. We hardly disagree. And if whatever I say, my husband is in line with it. And whatever my husband says, I'll fall into line. So it will be difficult for a child now to come and tell me, Mommy, this is what Daddy is doing. I say, go and face your music. It's a very, so they can't hide on the house. As a matter of fact, there was a day my older son accused me that, so it's everything I tell you that you have to tell your husband. Imagine. Eh? So if I tell you anything, you must tell your husband about it. Yes, that's the way it is. No, no, nothing is hidden. So they know. If you tell mommy anything, she will tell. And if you tell daddy, he will also tell his wife. They know.
Wow. So you present a united front before the
Exactly.
children, so they don't have any cracks to follow. I think that's critical, especially when you are raising children and they become teenagers. Once they notice those loops, they will always want to exploit it to their own benefit. And sometimes that's how we lose the quality of training and discipline we want to give our children, because they have ways to get through to mommy or to daddy to get what they want without the other person. Wow, so that's powerful. But so in front of them, you don't disagree, but do you have sometimes where you have to like look at this discipline again, just the both of you? Does that happen sometimes? And then how do you go about it?
Yes, it does happen. I can remember that there was a day I disciplined our older son. And my husband really felt sorry for him. He really felt sorry. But he didn't say anything to me right there. He later called me and said, please now, it's okay. I plead on his behalf. Please, let him be. And he now called the boy to me again, that, you know, what you have done is wrong. You need to apologize to your mom. And he apologized, and we ended it there. And you know, the kind of home we try to run is an open one. We talk a lot, all five of us. When you see us together, you think we are siblings. We gist, we interact a lot. They tell us things. There's hardly anything we don't know about them. Hardly anything. And they know a lot about us. A lot about us. My husband and the children, they sit down to watch football together. Even though I don't really fancy football, but I sit down with them too, and we scream together. So it's like that. If there's a film they are watching, we will deliberately impose ourselves on them so that we will know what they are watching. We get along with their friends. Their friends are our friends. When they bring them home, we deliberately want to be part of their life, and we want to know where they are from too. We want to know who their parents are. We want to be friends with them so that we consciously guide them so that our children don't fall into wrong hands, including our daughter too. We are involved, very, very involved in our life. All our friends, their parents are our friends as well. That's the way. Even now that they're in the university, we get to know who is their roommates. We try to get to know who the parents are. And deliberately we call, we send phone calls, we send messages to create an, intimate friendship so that the children themselves can be happy and we too can be rest at ease.
Wow, interesting. It's like it seemed you had something to add.
Okay, to add. Well, my wife is this discipline type or the disciplinarian.
I am the thatcher in the house.
Okay, so it means you are answering my next question. Like, she's stricter than you when it comes to handling the children.
I hardly beat them because I cannot remember the time they caned me when I was growing up. So because of that, I grew up with such kind of this thing. So, but whenever my wife doesn't, probably if she had allowed me to be going like that with them, maybe they could have been seeing something else. But she said, no, we need to take care of these children. We need to, discipline them. And like she rightly said, so whatever decision she takes on that, I don't disagree with her. Even if I don't like that, that attitude at that moment, I'll keep quiet until we get inside our bedroom. I said, no, you should have, no, you should have taken it easy with this boy. It's no longer. So, but that's the kind of the relationship that we try to, to showcase. So I don't disagree with my wife in the presence of our children. So no matter what, I can live there, I can leave the scene, go somewhere. And once I leave the scene, my wife knows that I'm not happy with the situation at that moment. So so then she'll put herself in check.
Well, interesting. So how is it for you, Ma, when sometimes, because I don't know about it, but sometimes I feel like he should have contributed to this conversation also.
Exactly.
But because he's
You're
feeling
right.
uneasy, he has stood up and left. So how do you feel sometimes when this happens?
As mothers now, the first thing is my head will just went bam. And I'm like, well, I expected that you would have said something now. Why didn't you say anything? You say, yeah, the two of us cannot be saying at the same time. You say it, allow the boy to assimilate it. Then we will call them to ourselves again. So I always told the partner, hey, you're the one that is spoiling them now. You're the one that is pampering them. You want them to have everything, do everything their way. Say, just calm down, calm down. Everything is going to be fine. I will speak with the boy later, but not when you were on his neck, not now. We'll sort it out quietly. Most times we get results with that style.
Well, interesting. So you mentioned that you've been working with couples and doing premarital counseling with them and all. So from your experience with premarital counseling, what are some of the things you would recommend that intending couples learn, get to know before they get into the marriage space?
All right. So over time, we've been privileged to counsel quite a number of couples. I can't even count how many now, but there has been something that reoccurs most times. Most couple do not believe that after marriage, they need to still open their homes to family members. They believe it's supposed to be me and my wife, me and my family. The kind of society where we find ourselves in Africa does not give room for such. And that's the first thing that creates trouble in any marriage. Once the either of the couple does not want to accept the other's family member. For example, if a newly married wife doesn't want to accept the siblings of the husband, it becomes something else. You can't suddenly separate siblings. Fine, he is your husband, but he is also their own brother, and you cannot detach him from them. They've been together all their lives, and you now want to claim him to yourself only. No, it doesn't happen now. It won't work. It will create rifts in that family. Or you don't want your mother-in-law to come and visit. You tell your wife, tell your parents not to come yet. Why? So we always encourage that they should have open mind and accept one another's family as their own. They should see that they are gaining a new family. That's the first thing that we observe that creates issues. As a matter of fact, we had this couple that the mother of the groom almost canceled the marriage.
That's true.
Wow.
She almost canceled it. Yes. In fact, it was canceled. The marriage was canceled, but we started praying. We adopted a round table method. We sat down with them. We spoke with the two parents, especially the aggrieved mother. It was after then that the woman said, okay, they can go on. Do you understand? So you don't stay because you want to marry somebody's son. you want to detach that son from the mother. No one will allow it now. I can't imagine. I have 2 boys, and a lady comes now, wants to take over my son completely. He's your husband. Wow. God bless the 2 of you, but he's also my son. So we should give room. We should give room. We should ask God for wisdom in that area for newly married people or intending couples. Yes. Then another one is finance. Of recent, one was telling me, my money is my money. My husband should take care of everything. My money is my money. I said, where is it written that your money is your money? She is working, the husband is working. She doesn't want to use her own money to do anything. But the husband should be taking care of everything 100%. And I asked her, I said, so where did the Bible say you are the help meet, a suitable help for him? The reason why you are also earning something is to be able to, help him, shock some loopholes. And she said, I know that she doesn't see it from that angle, that our own money is our own money. So we must pay a lot of attention to finance. To finance in marriage, we must. And couples must be sure before they go into marriage. Don't say you see her, she has, put all manner of things on the face. She's a figure 8. In the next 5 years, when she's no longer figure 8, will you still love her? They must be sure. Did you talk to God about it? What did you hear? What did God tell you? What assurance do you have from God that makes you know that when you go into this, there will be no problem? So those 3 things must be very, very emphasized. We are not Britons. We are not whites. So we should not assume that we can borrow their culture 100%. No, we are Africans. Be you who you may be it a Christian, be it a Muslim, we are first of all Africans. And family is very important in Africa. We must emphasize it. We must emphasize finance. We must emphasize seeking the face of God.
Sorry, I'm kind of losing you there. I'm not getting I didn't get the last thing you said.
I said finance must be looked into. Relationship with in-laws must be looked into. Then seeking the face of God before that marriage at all. Be sure that that is whom God wants you to spend your life with. That it's very, very cogent. Marriage is not something to handle with levity.
Quite true, ma. Very true. Interestingly, even though in the West they have more lenience or more space within their relationships, but relationship with in-laws fall among the 5 most common things they fight about as well. Then let alone in Africa where families are close. And I think that some of us do not even appreciate how families help to keep a home going. There are a lot of benefits you have when your family is close. For example, you have young children and you have to work. There's somebody that you can rely on to help you with that. You have there are simple things that you don't pay for, but family does for you because they are close. And I think it's a very dangerous trend, because I've heard people say this over and over. Oh, I will not marry a man when his mother is alive, while his mother is still alive.
Can you imagine?
It's a very dangerous trend. And social media is propagating this evil gospel, so to say, very, very loudly. So people come into the marriage space with already preconceived notions about what their mother-in-laws are capable of doing and all. And so if anything happens, they just quickly conclude, yes, I've been told, or they've said it before, that's how they are. So the patience, the ability to work through those things is lost already before even the challenges come. So I think that that's really huge, that people should learn that we're in the African space. Family is very dear to us. It's part of our values over here to have communities, to grow in that community. And for a long time, it has been one of the things that has secured our marriages, that have helped us live even healthier. Because even when it comes to health, having a support system, a family base, helps you have better health than people that are loners. But a lot of people do not realize these things, and they fight family instead of learning how to live with people, learning how to tolerate, to manage differences amicably so that they can keep that relationship going. So I think that that's really huge, and it's so right. Then when it comes to money, oh my God, it's another conversation altogether. We had some talk about money last week with our couple, Dima and Dima Wobi and her husband Nedu Wobi, and they talked about finance, how putting money together just help you as a family to grow. It's easier. You manage your resources together. It's easier for you to plan when the both of you are opened with your resources and everything. You can grow faster than everybody trying to keep this for themselves, hiding the other one and everything. So one person is struggling and stressing, like in the story you told, and then the family is losing hugely because they would have been able to grow, be able to do better investments, be able to plan better if they were working together, as against leaving the responsibility with just one person. So I think that those are very huge. And of course, the scriptures tell us that a three-folded cord cannot be easily broken. So having God as the head, as the anchor, as the one that holds everything together, is central. Faith is central to our lives as a whole, how we live, our success, and also I think those are very huge points. And I want to hear from you, sir. Are there any other things you would want to add to these three things?
Well, it's in marriage. Marriage is not for the babies. You understand? What we normally tell the intending couple is to let them know that they should not leave communication out of their relationship. Communication is very, very key. When I was proposing to my wife, and she said, she wants a perfect person. She wants a godly person. I said, look, if you are looking for a pastor, I think I'm not one. Because then I never knew that they can be adding the word pastor to my name now. So, so that I'm not one. But what is important is that in this school, the pass mark is 40%. That once you are able to score 40%, because none of us is perfect. Once you're able to score 40%, you are okay. But in your own case, since you are a bookwormer, you can rate me at 50%. So if I fall below 50%, let me know. I'm also that whatever happens between us, that's whatever happens, we should not sleep over it. So that there's no way we won't be having, misunderstandings. But what makes us different from the unbeliever is that how fast we're able to resolve our differences. So since we got married, we don't sleep over our differences. We'll sit down inside our room, because you might not even want children to know that we have issues. We'll sit down, we'll resolve it. So, like I said, so marriage is not for babies, it's for matured mind. So anyone that is not mature to that level might find it a little bit, difficult. Then, as regards the family, family, they are very, very important. The way we give back to our children, we give back to our children through CS. You understand? And I don't have mom. I don't have dad as at the time I even entering a higher institution. Talk less of when I got married. But the fact is that because of what I've told my wife, that, okay, accept these people, and because of the way they accepted her too. Do you know that, 3-4 months, my aunties will be the one helping my wife, washing this for her, washing that for her. So they did not, throughout that period, they won't allow her to even feel any stress. You understand? It's because of the way we open our hands to receive them. So, when you are helping others, you are helping yourself too. So those are the things that one should know as a man, as a couple. Try to help people. When you're helping them, they help you. So throughout our this thing, we never had a housemaid, a houseboy. So it's our, our
family members.
Our foster mother, foster fathers that have been helping us, and the family members. So they are helping us, we are helping them. So then, as regards finance, so it is very, very good for us, for couple to be open. She knew what I'm earning, and I know our own distance too. So we put everything together. So it will be difficult for one to say, no, you have money, because already she know how much I'm earning every month, and then we'll plan towards it. Because despite the fact that this is what we are earning, we need to help these people, we need to help these people. And the Bible says, can two people work together except they agree? We've always been agree with one another, because there is no, because we feel that, we need to, as we are going up, we need to lift people's hands up too. And God has been helping us. So we don't know, maybe that's the reason why God has been, helping us. But we will continue to help people as long as God permits. So now those are the things that we normally tell, the intending couples or couples that there's no way you won't have any issues, but how quick you are able to resolve this issue. So that's it.
Wow, fantastic. So you just mentioned another key one, communication, and how fast we resolve conflicts. Because I think that communication is huge. And I think that how we manage our conflicts is something I usually share as I teach. I say how we manage our conflicts will determine whether our love will continue to grow and blossom, or it will die. Because if we use conflict as a reason to keep fighting, and then our conflicts are very sharp, eventually we stop talking with each other, eventually we lose our friendship, and also with the friendship will go the feelings of love and connection that we had. But if we're able to settle that quickly and come back into the relationship, then we are able to build better trust with each other. We are certain that whatever it is, we will overcome. We know that we are here for the long haul. We are settled, we are at peace, and our relationship will continue to grow and be strengthened. That's so powerful. Of course, when you talk about that, you talk about communication, you talk about finance, you talk about these things. And I think that when people begin to learn these things, I also want to suggest, since you are in this space and all, that we also look at how to actually mentor people. I know you do it, right? Bring people into your home, but also encourage other people to do the same. So that it's not just about what they hear, but they come and they see these things in action. They learn from seeing. It's more powerful than just hearing people say it over and over, especially if your primary home, where you're coming from, you never saw these things. It will be hard to convert this knowledge into usable form. But if they can come, they see these things, they see how it really works in a home, then I believe that it will be something that a lot of people will begin to learn and begin to do. Because like I say, nobody comes into marriage hoping that their marriage will be terrible. Everybody comes in hoping for the best. The challenge is that many of us are not equipped to have the best. We don't know how, because we have not been taught and we've not learned how to do it. And so before you go, I want to ask you what you think about the RBT show, that's the rings that bind, and what your recommendation will be for us in the future.
My husband and I have spoken about it before the commencement of this. Said it's a fantastic way of reaching out to people and helping younger ones to be established in marriage. And it also helps. For example, now, my husband and I, it has really helped us to, recapture our personalities, evaluate ourselves, and see where we need to push it up a little more. Then it gives us this sense of togetherness, being together, being still loving one another, and hoping that the love lasts forever. It refreshes the marriage system for us. At least we've talked about it over and over and over and over, and we've laughed about it, especially how we met, even in the presence of the children. All of them were like, are you serious? And all that. So it's a wonderful program, and we sincerely pray that this program will wax stronger.
Amen.
And that the Lord will establish you the more.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank God.
Okay, I thought you wanted to say something, sir.
Okay, well, yes, I just want to encourage, I want to encourage you and just to give you kudos, for doing this. This opportunity that you have given us has enabled us to hear our views, and then to also learn from you too, because when you say this is the way they are doing things in my village, it's even from the way they are doing the other people's listen. So by the time you marry the two together, then you'll be able to get something out of it. So we'll be able to get something out of this discussion and conversation. I want to, to ask God to continue to be with you, even in this journey, in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for agreeing to do this with us. Thank you for sharing out of your wisdom with us. And hopefully everybody that will listen to this will be inspired to keep pushing and keep making sure that they do the things that are required to make their marriages work, especially opening up to in-law relationship, having a big heart, to receive people into our homes, and use that as a means to mentor, to train, to tutor others so that they also can produce what we have been producing. I've learned so much from you, and I'm so grateful that you came along to share this experience with us. Listener, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sure you learned a lot. Please remember to leave a comment, share, like, follow this channel as we continue to have these conversations and inspire other people. Help us do the work of the evangelists to share these stories to others so that they can also benefit from this. And don't forget that this show is up for sponsorship. So if you are interested in sponsoring this show, or an organization that is family oriented and will want to sponsor a show like this, please reach out to us. We'll be glad to have that contact and to reach them. Have a beautiful evening, rest well, and we hope that your marriage and your relationship continues to blossom. It's bye-bye from all of us here. Rising rate of divorce is a concern. We know that the family is the basic unit of society, and if families continue to disintegrate, the society is in great danger. That is why panaceavilleinternational, along with BridgeAfrique, Home of Bliss, have put together Rings That Bind. It is a show that streams live on YouTube, where we interview couples who are having harmonious relationships. They share with us how they have been able to sustain their love through their challenges. They share their challenges and how they overcame them. Join me, let's learn from them. There is no trouble, no challenge you are facing or that you will face in your relationship that someone else hasn't gone through and successfully overcome. Let's learn the secrets, let's learn the tools so that we get inspired to make our marriages work. Join me every Thursday on YouTube. I'm Nancy Oblete, your host.
continue to subscribe and like all our videos and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop new videos on BridgeAfrique and EFFERTube on YouTube. You can also reach us on 0086139189433324 on WhatsApp and WeChat. See you.